Hi, and welcome. My name is Erin Kern with The Unmistakable Entrepreneur. I'd like to welcome you to this new series where I'm going to be interviewing and chatting with business owners and entrepreneurs about what is it to be an entrepreneur. So today I'm talking with Joseph Tolbert. He is a speaker and an author, and he is a mentor and a business coach. He owns a cleaning company. He also owns Harvest Group Institute, which is a Bible-based study business, and he does a lot of speaking and training through that circuit. Inspires lots and lots of people. Joseph and I have been friends for quite a while, and he actually is one of my mentors and one of the people who has really inspired me to keep going on my path. So Joseph, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. So why don't you tell our viewers a little bit about Harvest Group Institute and what you're up to?
Harvest Group Institute is a Bible-based training company, and our mission and goal is to teach people how to have good life and also enjoy their life. And so really taking the time, sharing wisdom and insight into how to live and how to execute, how to bring dreams to fruition, how to make your goals happen, so on and so forth, in business, in relationships, parenting, marriage, even employability. So that's what we do.
That's really awesome. Thank you. So I invited you to speak with me and to share with me your views on like what is an entrepreneur, so that our viewing audience can kind of get an idea of the journey. And so, all answers are fantastic. Please just speak from your heart like I know you will, and let's create some miracles for people, okay?
Yes, ma'am. What I want to start off with then is what an entrepreneur is not.
Okay.
And the reason I wanted to do that is because I come across a lot of people who want to be an entrepreneur, but they want to be an entrepreneur because they have no discipline and they don't like to have a boss. They don't want to follow instructions. They don't want to sew into anybody else's vision. And so they say, hey, I'm made to own my own business. And so that is not an entrepreneur trying to escape the discipline of following instructions, trying to get away from having a boss, somebody telling you what to do. That is not an entrepreneur. Those people tend to fail because once you become an entrepreneur and start your business, you have more than one boss now. All of your clients are your bosses. You have to follow the instructions of all of those people. And so I just wanted to start there as far as what it is not. And so being an entrepreneur, in my opinion, is somebody who knows and understands who they are, that the way that they are wired, the way that they were created and born is to give people some sort of solution to their problems. And I think that that's something that is birthed out of your heart, not out of, I want to run away from the discipline in working.
That's a really powerful distinction. That's so true, because I know when I started on the path, I knew I had a calling, and I was also very much trying to run away from something, and it just didn't work because running away was what was really more in the space for me.
Right.
And like when you're talking about just really being moved to mission and to being a contribution for the people that you're serving, that's really what it's all about. Because at the end of the day, the responsibility is still going to be there whether you work for someone else or you work for yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with you. And so I like the fact that you said a calling. As a speaker, I tell people all the time, if I didn't have a stage to speak from, I'd be outside talking to the trees and the light posts, because it's how I'm wired. I feel like I have some insight and I want to share it.
What are the characteristics of an entrepreneur? Or there might be several. Which do you think are the key characteristics that an entrepreneur should have or needs on that journey?
I would say, to me, the number one attribute they should have is serving. I know that serving is a bad word, or following is a bad word these days, but to be the greatest servant to your client, to your customer, is to me the end all be all attribute is to be that master servant. Kind of like a waiter. A waiter doesn't get to say to you, I want more money in my tip. They don't get to consciously say that.
Right.
Their service has to say it. And a scenario that I like to talk about is the fact that we've all had a horrible waiter before. And
right.
for those of us who have, different levels of honor, we tip that guy anyways, just to be a blessing to him. But then we had a waiter who was pretty decent. And we go into our pocket to leave our regular tip. I like to leave like $5, $10. And so I go in my pocket to leave a tip like I normally would leave for a decent waiter. But then something in your own heart says, he deserves more. He didn't get to say it with his mouth. I went in my pocket to leave him the regular tip, but his service spoke so loud to me that something said, I have to give this guy more. And I think that is the key attribute to being an entrepreneur. If you don't want to serve your client at its highest level with just the utmost degree of honor, you're always going to be just self-employed, and it'll never transition into business ownership.
Why is entrepreneurship so important? Why should someone consider really taking up that calling and being that in the marketplace?
I think that, like I said, service. If you have a heart to serve people, to give to your community, to change the world around you, in your house, in your neighborhood, in your community, then that's why I would say, if it's a calling to serve people on a grander scale, you must answer it, because it's not about you. I had a lady at the last seminar we did. She said, at my church, they keep asking me to kind of step up in the front and run different things. She said, but I really don't want to do it. But everywhere I go, they keep asking me to run the stuff and to step up. I said, the truth is, ma'am, it's not about you. If you're wired that way, and if the gift is in you to help people, to bless people, to teach people, to train them, to offer a service, it's about that person. So set you aside and think of the love you have for your fellow man and answer that call, because there's people waiting for you, kind of like an airport. Imagine an airport without an airstrip, and airplanes are just circling. They're waiting for the runway to be built so they can land. And so there's certain people wired to hear your voice. There's certain people wired to buy your product. There's certain people wired to connect to you that will never find their destiny until you answer your call and you give them a place to land.
Thank you. So this is Erin Kern with the Unmistakable Entrepreneur. Stay tuned. We're going to be having many more business owners and entrepreneurs talking about entrepreneurship, what it takes to be successful, and why it's so important in our economy and in our lives. Thank you for tuning in.